Welcome to section 2.11 of the foreclosure prevention class, strategies for reducing and prioritizing debt. This is an incredible skill to have as a counselor, and you'll find that you will use this a lot with your foreclosure prevention clients. But you'll also use it a lot as you start to transition into pre-purchase, because this is often a strategy that new homeowners or potential homeowners or even renters can use to help them become more financially stable. So the reasons to address debt, reducing, and I mean other debt in terms of not the mortgage. Oftentimes we'll find when we're working with the client that their housing payment is 31% or less, but their total debts, like in previous examples, were 63%, 70%, even 80%. So oftentimes it's not the house payment that's causing them stress, it's all the other debt. So reducing or paying the amount owed on other financial obligations will likely help keep the homeowner in his or her home, because default on some other debt could result in a foreclosure. Free up more money to contribute to a sustainable foreclosure avoidance plan. So those are two really good reasons to really start looking at the other debt. There are certain things that they must pay in order to stay. Default on these particular obligations may threaten the homeowner's ability to stay in the home, such as subordinate mortgage liens, a second or third lien. The first mortgage holder may decide to do a workout plan, but if they don't have enough or haven't included the second mortgage in there, they can force the foreclosure. Paying the property taxes, again, if it's not included in the payment, they can force the sale of the home. Homeowners insurance can do it. And HOA, those are things we started to see with this, with the mortgage meltdown, that we just hadn't really taken into consideration much, because we think in homeowners associations are there to support the homeowners. Well, they can also force a sale of the home, so please be mindful of that. Now, let's talk about some strategies for reducing debt. The first one is property or homeowners insurance. First, you want to make sure that the insurance is insuring the value of the dwelling rather than the full value of the property. And you can call the agent and ask them to look at the policy and let you know. But oftentimes, if you look at the appraisal, let's say the home appraises for $150,000. Well, the land might be worth 30 of that, so the house is worth $120,000. You want to make sure that the insurance policy is providing insurance for the $120,000, because the land's not going anywhere. Also, explore possible reductions with that policy, or shop around. See if you can find a homeowner's insurance policy that's less expensive. And then there's private mortgage insurance. Federal law requires for PMI the automatic cancellation if it's 22% equity. Now, does it happen automatically? In theory, supposed to. In practice, not so much. So you may want to have your homeowner look into that. Find out, get with the realtor, find out what the property values are, and see if they can have their private mortgage insurance removed. Now, there have been some recent changes to FHA private mortgage insurance, which is called MIP, or Mortgage Insurance Premium. So for loans with FHA case numbers assigned on or after June 3rd, 2013, FHA has changed its PMI requirements. Here's an example. For loans that are greater than 15 years and greater than 78 to 90% loan to value, it used to be that the PMI was canceled 5 years or at 78% loan to value. Now it's automatic 11 years, period. Automatic 11 years. So that's a change. Now, some other strategies for reducing debt. Let's look at other judgment liens. You might be able to negotiate a lower payment. Utilities. Look to see if there's some low-income energy efficiency program in the area, a weatherization assistance program, especially if you have seniors. There may be something with your local housing finance agency that can weatherize their home and then in turn reduce their utility payments. Look at payment plans that utility companies may have. And then check to see what the limits on termination of service are. Usually there are some limits, especially during winter months, or hot summer months if you're in states like Arizona. Student loan debt, that's a big one. That's a big one right now especially. But government-backed student loans have a special kind, is considered a special kind of unsecured debt. Non-payment can result in seizure of the homeowner's tax refund, garnished wages, offset against other government benefits. So you really don't want to not pay your student loan debt, but you can always look at a forbearance. So monthly payments can usually be reduced, but have your homeowner call and request a reasonable and affordable payment agreement. The NCLC Student Loan Borrower Assistance Project is one way that they can get assistance. So you might want to make a note of this list, the www.studentloanborrowerassistance.org. They should be able to get information on student loans, repayment plans, and collection methods. And this will help the borrowers figure out what kind of student loan they have and what their options are. Next, we want to talk about prioritizing debt. Defer paying low priority debt and free up money to catch up on mortgage payments and other essentials. Are you going to tell your clients not to pay their bills? Absolutely not. Because as soon as you say that, every problem they have is your fault. What you want to do is help them prioritize what's most important. What are your needs versus your wants? Debt collectors will call, so make them aware of that, especially if they don't have enough. Like if you've done the crisis budget with them and they're still coming up short at the end of the month, then there are certain bills they're just not going to be able to pay, and they have to make their peace with that. And the debt collectors will call. They can ask them, they can tell the debt collector not to call them and to do everything in writing. That may help reduce their stress. Or they can just know the debt collectors will call and they'll tell them they just don't have the money right now. The credit rating will suffer. Of course, any late payment to any credit account is going to reduce your credit rating. That's just how credit ratings work. Now let's look at secured versus unsecured debt. Secured, those are consumer, when the consumer puts up collateral, such as a home is a secured debt, a car is a secured debt. And that also means that the creditor has to write the ticket if the debt's not paid. Unsecured is when there's no collateral, and therefore it's usually really hard for a creditor to collect on that type of debt. Debts with collateral are usually considered high priority. So here's a list. Family necessities, high priority. Housing-related bills, high priority. Minimum required for utilities, high priority. Car loans or leases, if that's your means to getting to work, high priority. Child support, absolutely high priority. And then income taxes, you want to pay that because all these things can leave you, income taxes can garnish your wages, child support can garnish your wages. So these are things you want to make sure your client is getting paid. Medium priority debt would be a student loan. Can they garnish your wages? Yes, they can. More than likely what they'll do is garnish your income tax refund, but we call it a medium priority debt because they'll usually work with you if you contact them and let them know you're in a hardship. And then low priority debt, like we said, are loans without collateral, loans with household goods as collateral. So if they're, let's say you bought a TV and you financed it through a company and it's considered collateral, well, they may take the TV, but you can still live without that. And then, of course, private student loans. Some more tips. Do not move debt up in priority just because the creditor threatens to sue. Because that's just a tactic they use to scare you. And, if you don't have any money, you don't have any money. So don't move them up in priority because hopefully you've gone through this process with your clients. They've already prioritized the necessities. So moving up a credit card into over a car payment just would not make sense. Evaluate any legal defense not to pay. So again, you are not an attorney. You don't want to give them any kind of legal advice. You can refer them to legal aid. Have them get assistance there, and usually they can get free assistance there, which is wonderful. or contact the Bar Association, and they'll have a list of attorneys who do pro bono work and may be able to help them as well. Court judgments move debt up a bit, so that could be a priority if your creditor actually goes to court and get a judgment. Oh, we got to fix that little thingy there. Debt collection efforts, let's see, here we go. We got to repeat there. They can threaten to ruin credit, but you shouldn't move it up in debt priority. Okay? So just because they're calling, you've already told your client they're going to call. That's part of what they have to do. You owe them money, so they're going to call. Your credit's already ruined because you haven't been paying them. So them calling and making you aware of that, again, should not move them up in priority. Co-signed debt should be treated like any other debt. So if it's co-signed for a car, again, a car is collateral. So that should be a high priority. If a co-sign for a credit card, that's not a high priority. Now you may want to notify the other person who's co-signed with you to let them know you're in a hardship and will not be making this payment, to give them an option to make the payment because it's affecting their credit as well. Refinancing, rarely the answer, because often our clients' credit is often not strong enough to refinance at this point. Although there are some options, and we'll talk about that in Section 3. Try to stop debt collection harassment by sending a cease and desist letter. That's what I referred to earlier when I said you can tell the creditor they have to contact you in writing. And it's good to document by sending a letter to them saying, please, cease all telephone contact, just contact me in writing. The Federal Debt Collection Practices Act applies to all debt collectors and not creditors though. So your mortgage company, for example, can contact you regardless. Your credit card company can contact you regardless. Now, if it's been turned over to a collection agency, that's where the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act is going to step in and help protect your client. All right? Okay, so now we're at the end of Section 2.11. Yes, we are done.